All right, Matt Klink is a Republican political strategist and the owner and president of Klink Campaigns, and joins us now to talk about tonight's address. Thank you so much for being here today on quite a day and quite a week for President Trump. From the heated exchange with President Zelensky at the White House to tariff announcements yesterday, President Trump bringing up a lot. So what do you expect the focus of tonight's speech to be? Will it be on all of this?
Well, I think the focus will be on a couple things. I think one, he's going to talk about his accomplishments in the first 42 days. And that's significant in the sense that, you know, we had a low energy president for the last 4 years. And in 42 days, whether you support or don't Donald Trump, what we've seen is a flurry of activity across all fronts. The other thing is that he is going to talk about an aspirational agenda. I think he's again going to use the phrase the golden age for America and talk about the things that he wants to do for America's future. Paramount among those is a stronger economy. Second would be peace in the world, and third would be securing the borders. So again, it will probably be a long speech, hopefully not a laundry list like State of the Unions can be, but it is a significant opportunity for the president to make his case before the American people.
All right, well, let's talk about a poll released this week by Marist University and NPR found 57% of Americans think their grocery prices will increase in the next 6 months. For a president who won on promising the economy would be better under him than Biden, how can he turn things around as this tariff announcement is not only causing a free fall within the markets, but you see retaliation from Canada, perhaps from Mexico, from China?
Sure. Well, a couple things. One, polls are like perfume. They should be smelled, not swallowed. And these are the same polls that said that the November 2024 election was going to be a close one when we knew that it wasn't. But I think the larger point is right, that Americans are still largely uneasy about the economy. American voters do not care about macroeconomic concerns and inflation and the consumer price index. What they do care about is the price of diapers, the price of eggs, the price of meat, the price of milk. And Donald Trump would be wise to make sure that he focuses on that. And if the American voters, who are very fickle, by the way, they support him now, but if they see their economic situation not improving, I mean, it's only been 42 days, but if they see it by the 2026 elections, it could be an ugly one for Republicans.
And what about today, as we're watching the stock market plummet? We hear about these tariffs coming from Canada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau saying he's, bring it on. We'll take a trade war with you. It won't be good for anybody, but we won't back down. What about people who are now looking at their 401ks, looking at that retirement fund, looking at all their investments? How does he get under from this?
Who, he being Donald Trump?
Donald Trump, well, sorry, yes. How does the president get out from under something like this?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's only an electron loss unless you sell today. So people generally have their retirement funds to hold for the long term. Don't forget, the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, who's going to allegedly speak today and then is going to implement tariffs on Sunday, and Justin Trudeau, the outgoing Prime Minister of Canada, they have to put up a strong front for their domestic consumption. And look, the trade war with America, it's going to hurt Canada and Mexico a heck of a lot more than it's going to hurt the U.S. So as the president has said, trading with America is a privilege. It's not a right. He is going to focus on American safety and national security. And right now, America has made some bad trade deals, some unfair trade deals. We run $1 trillion a year trade deficit with Canada, Mexico, China, and other nations. And he wants to close those numbers, and he also wants to secure the borders. And hopefully this is a short-term thing and not long-term. But in terms of, look, if people watch the stock market go up and down, all they're going to do is raise or lower their blood pressure. Focus on if you invest for the long term. But again, I go back, consumers and voters is what Donald Trump should ultimately be focused on. That's what's going to determine success or failure for him.
Okay, I want to shift gears a little bit to foreign policy. So under President Trump, the U.S. making a lot of changes not seen in decades, seemingly breaking ties with allies and NATO. So what does America gain from the moves that he's making, announcing today that he's going to stop support for Ukraine in this war against Russia?
Well, let's be clear. America has not stopped support of NATO. We have more than 60,000 troops in Europe, which demonstrates America's commitment to Europe. What Donald Trump has said following the blow-up in the Oval Office is that Vladimir Zelensky is not ready to talk about peace. Just this week in Europe, or in England over the weekend, he said that peace is a very long way away. What Zelensky didn't read the tea leaves right is that American policy toward Ukraine has moved. We're no longer going to write Ukraine a blank check for a war that, to be honest with you, has stagnated and Ukraine has lost ground. So Putin, everybody's talking about Putin and Trump. The reality is Vladimir Zelensky will ultimately come back to the table. He will cut a mineral deal with Donald Trump. And look, everybody talks about Europe stepping up. I'll remind people that Europe spends more buying Russian natural gas than they do in giving aid to Ukraine. So America is all that Ukraine has if they want a viable and a durable peace.
Do you think that what is happening now will affect a relationship with NATO in the future? Or do you think that we will just say this is an aberration and move forward?
I think that Donald Trump, as evidenced by his first term and his second term, has done more to strengthen the NATO alliance than presidents for probably four decades. He has forced NATO members to step up to meet their 2% GDP defense contributions, and he's continued to press on that. He's even said that they need to go as high as 5%. And European nations across the board, even Germany, has said, you're right, we do need to step up. So that's a good thing. And if our NATO allies think that that's Trump calling NATO into question, the Americans overwhelmingly fund NATO and have made it a success since the end of World War II. We have our troops on the ground. Europe needs to step up and do its fair share. They've coasted on our coattails for too long.
Matt Klink, owner and president, Klink Campaigns, thank you for joining us today and for your insight. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Holly. I appreciate it.